Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series, the Retro Spider-Man 2024 wave. Here I have at the end of 2023. Before I get into the review, of course, you guys are all going to ask, how'd you get it? How'd you get it so early? I thought it comes out next year. I got my set from Figure Grail USA. Link in the video description below to their website and their Instagram page. Just so you know, this set did come from Hong Kong. It's not released anywhere in the US or anything like that overseas. It has been released, so he was able to secure a few sets. I was able to get one of them, so keep an eye on his Instagram sales post through his Instagram story. That's where you will typically see Hasbro product available as he is able to sell them, as he has available stock to sell. But if you're looking for imports and those kinds of things, like SH Figure Arts, Mayfex, those kind of figures, you want to check out his website. So if you're into like anime and all those figures and things like that, or even the Marvel stuff, go to figuregrail.com, link in the video description below. But for Hasbro stuff, the domestic figures, those kinds of things, make sure to follow him on Instagram. Link in the video description below to Figure Grail. Again, make sure to follow him. Here we have the final figure in the wave for me to look at. This is Hallow'S Eve. This is actually a relatively new character. The persona of Hallow'S Eve is new. It's about a year old, a little over a year. I guess she debuted in November, so it is a Ben Reilly-centric character that is going to tie into the Chasm figure that released earlier this year. So that is pretty cool that we're getting some stuff with pretty quick turnarounds from comic book appearances into figure form. New character, it's the updated female body, so some good things going for it. We get some accessories. We got a bunch of hands, so we got grip hands, we've got fists, we've got open hands, we got a couple of masks. She uses those masks in combination with magic to give her special powers. Now the devil mask, the Dracula vampire mask, I don't know if that makes her like a vampire-like or what the deal is there, but she has, like in the comics, you see some comic artwork where she's like got a Thanos mask, a Spider-Man mask, a Fin Fang Foom mask, it looked like. And so it'll give her different abilities and those kinds of things. Anyway, here we have the card back style. This is kind of the newer, updated version. It is not the Toy Biz animated series throwback, so it's not one that I will be doubling up on. We get another look at the figure. The bio reads, armed with a bag of super-powered Halloween masks, Janine Godby, and I think they spelled it wrong. I think the correct spelling is Godby, and here on the back of the package they spelled the Godbe. But anyway, Janine Godby is on the mission to evade the police and free her beloved Ben Reilly as Hallow'S Eve. So, Ben Reilly, Chasm. But she's a villain, right? I better double check that, because Goblin Queen turned her into Hallow'S Eve. She wasn't, she was good, and she was like, yo, Beyond Corporation sucks. They're going to do evil things to you. And then boom, Chasm. And then Madeline Pryor, Goblin Queen, she's like, yeah, I'm going to make you a villain. So there's that. Anyway, let's open it up. No, that's actually the correct spelling. The website that I was looking at had the incorrect spelling. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. So take a closer look at Hallow'S Eve. And this one is interesting. She comes with these masks, which are really cool. Interchangeable heads could have been cool, but I think that would have been a bit much. The only issue, the only issue is with these masks, like this devil one, doesn't really stay on and like doesn't fit onto her face very well. Now, I haven't tried popping the head off and taking the hood and then like putting in there and see if it kind of like fits into her hair and then put the hood back on. But like this one, you can't really get it to stay. It just doesn't really look good to try and force it to really stay, so that doesn't work out too well. But like the Vampire Dracula one, I can kind of stick that on there and it holds, well enough. I guess you could say, but we'll take a look as, I try to take it apart, pop the head off, and then see if I can get like the hood off and kind of do it that way. We'll see if that works. The digital print on here looks pretty good. She's got black mask, yellow eyes. She's got this evil, sinister looking smile, pale skin. She's got some bright ass orange hair in there under that hood. I'm going to take the head off and see if we can get the hood off and things like that. She's got this scarf piece that just kind of rests over there. We got the two like jack-o'-lanterns there in the front. They're kind of tattered at the end. She's done in an orange color. That's kind of nice. It just, again, it rests on there. I didn't realize so much that it just, drapes over her shoulders like so. She has these purple band, I guess, around. I'm not really sure what they're for, but I looked up images and it's part of the design. It's just kind of weird that they're there. And then she's got like this purple satchel and we got silver for the buckle there. That looks pretty good. In terms of paint, she's just a lot of black, a lot of orange, and you could just see kind of how it bleeds in together here on her legs and here on her arms. Other than that, not a whole lot going on for it. This is the newer female body, but we do get those big ass peg holes in the back there. And then in terms of accessories, she has the open grip hands out of the package, and then I already swapped one out, but we get these 2 open hands. So she's got the 2 grips, the 2 open hands, and then she also comes with a pair of fists. So a fair amount of accessories to come with her. So the satchel, 3 sets of hands, and then the 2 masks. So not too bad, I guess, right? So there she is. But let's go ahead and kind of mess with this a little bit. Let's go ahead and let's pop that head off. So the head is in there is in the hood pretty good. It's not glued in. It definitely is loose in there. Let's see if I could just like easily get it out. I mean, there's only so much space in this hood to be able to get it out, and I can't really grip the head. Oh, there we go. So that is the head. There is her hair there. And that looks pretty good there. But let's see. I mean, would it be possible? Like, it doesn't, like, the masks don't just kind of like stick to her face or anything like that. They're more of like a holding accessory when you look at, you know, images. She's mainly just having them in the hand. That's why she comes with the grip hand. So it's not like something where you could just stick it on there and it's going to fit on her face. It doesn't really work. It's just that when it's in the hood, it does kind of hold it in place a little bit. With that hood popped off, let's pop the head on there. And if anything, the head actually looks kind of small for the body now. It looks a little bit weird in my opinion. Like when you look at it overall, it's like, oh, that's a small head. But she got that Karen cut going. Yeah, I don't really care for the way that looks. Let's put this hood right back on there because I think, you know, it's definitely better that way. Obviously, it's supposed to be designed that way, but it just looks a whole hell of a lot better with the hood on. So, boom, there we go. Much better. And again, unfortunately, the masks don't actually function as masks unless you, like, put some sticky tack or something in there to hold it in place. Otherwise, it's just going to go like that. But the Dracula one holds in place a little bit better. I think the Devil one, the problem is those horns. You can't really stick them into the hood and really hold in place because it just gets in the way. So that's, you know, a little unfortunate there. Because I tried bending it, sticking it in there, and it doesn't really hold. I was able to snap a picture of it holding for a second, but it kind of flared out and just looked a little bit weird. You could do something like that, but obviously that's not great. But let's go ahead and check out her articulation now. Okay, so Hallows Eve. So you saw the articulation. The hood is going to hinder her head movement a little bit, but she can look up pretty well. She can look down really well there. You can do a rotation in there. You got to just like grab the head, her face, because I just moved the head in there without the hood and it started to look funny. Not really any pivot going on there. You can get the arm to go out that much there. You get a full rotation in there. We got the upper bicep swivel, which is nice. We got the double jointed pinless elbows, which is really nice. We got the wrist swivel. They all have the standard horizontal hinge. So the fist, the open hands, and the grip hands, standard horizontal hinge. They all swivel at the wrist. We got the diaphragm cut on there so she could tilt to her left that much. She could tilt to her right that much there. She can go back a fair amount, as you can see. Coming forward is extremely little, like hardly anything at all. You got a swivel at that diaphragm cut. Legs go out that far apart. She can kick forward really, really, really high, as you can see there. The leg doesn't go back, or very, very little, if anything. You got an upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed pinless knee gives you that much bend at the knee there. No calf swivel or anything, but foot hinges all the way down. You get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Those peg holes are pretty shallow though, so I'm not, depending on the type of stand that you have, may not work out as well as you would hope. As I try and reposition that hood a little bit, get this back on her shoulder. There we go. So Hallows Eve. It's the newer female body, so it has all the, you know, the better points of articulation. It's a more sturdy figure in the legs, which is kind of the most important thing. But, you know, in terms of articulation, range of motion, still lacking when it comes to Hasbro female figures. For some side-by-side comparisons, again, very Ben Reilly heavy in these waves, it seems like. I know it's all fairly recent comic book storyline stuff, so it makes sense. Ben Reilly, you know, is recent in there. But just a lot of Ben Reilly. So, you know, Janine Godby is the love interest of Ben Reilly. So it makes, you know, it makes sense that she would be included in a wave that has Scarlet Spider and just, you know, Chasm, you know, not all kind of relatively within the short amount of time period, right? Same year, basically. I know this is supposed to be a 2024 figure, But I have it in 2023, and then the Chasm did, and Beyond Spider-Man there did release in 2023, so it kind of works out. I just rambled through that a little bit, but lots of Ben Reilly characters, so it's cool that we get it. And then the X-Men, the animated series, or X-Men 97, excuse me, the Disney Plus series, the Goblin Queen was actually just announced for that wave too. So we have a version of Madeline Pryor, probably not the real comic book version that people really want, but it can add to this if you want to add it into kind of the comic base. I'm sure the look isn't going to match at all, but it at least gives you that option. This is a fun one because there's two of the figures in the wave are like very Halloween-esque like, right? So we have Jack-o'-lantern, Mad Jack, we have Hallows' Eve. So they would have been perfect. I know they were announced shortly before. No, they were announced after. Was it before? I don't remember. It may have been before Halloween or just after Halloween, but it was around then. It would have been cool to release at Halloween time. So as people doing figure photography, they could do their Halloween shots and it would work out well. That didn't happen, and that's okay. People will, I'm sure, will use these next year and just hope they don't get forgotten about when it comes to next year. But it would have been really cool. 2 months off, so close, but almost. What if? What could have been? Anyway, there are our villains in this wave together in the solid choice all around. Tombstone is amazing. Again, sleeper hit. Jack-o'-lantern was always going to be good. He came out really nice. Hallows' Eve, she's got that bright orange. It really stands out. And she's got more accessories than female figures tend to come with, which is really cool. The masks are a nice option, even though really she can only grip them and hold them. Still cool to add, more characters to the shelf, newer characters that we haven't seen before, and one that's still really new. I mean, we're only talking a year old there, and it came out nice. So I'm all for it. Not standard. A good release of villains in this wave. So that is the entire Retro Spider-Man wave. There, I think a solid release, way better than the earlier wave that came out in 2023 that had the Ben Reilly, the Chasm figure. It had Miles Morales. We had the Elektra Nachios Daredevil, which is a really good figure. We had the Jessica Drew Spider-Woman, and we had, what was it, the Rose, I think, was in that, and Tarantula. Was it a 7-figure wave? It was a 7-figure wave, right? This wave was so much better than that previous one. In my opinion, the Ben Reilly really makes the wave. Obviously, that was going to be a no-brainer. Spider-Shot is cool. There's been a lot of talk back and forth in the comment section about that figure and why it has the thigh gap that it does. I don't think the Retro Spider-Man figure, because everyone's like, well, with that body, but pinless. Like, they're the same torso. That's, this does have the smaller shoulders, which the old one did use. The Renew Your Vows has the larger shoulders, but the torso itself is going to be the exact same. It's these hip pieces there that are different, and I don't know exactly which ones that came from. That could be the ones on like the Spider-Man 2099 body. These hip pieces are not the same as the Renew Your Vows body, and I think that might be the difference. If I look at the muscle tone, they are very similar. I think that's what it is. So because this torso and this torso are not the same, so I think what happens is these hips that are designed for this hip, these upper leg parts that connect to the pelvis hip area, are not made for this torso. And because again, it's a different piece. Like, this is one separate piece right here, but this one, it's all one piece with the whole torso. So I think that's what happens with that thigh gap. That's weird. I hope Hasbro doesn't do it again, because it just looks really weird. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. But even with the thigh gap issue, it's still a pretty good figure. The Last Stand Spider-Man, I'm happy to add another Spider-Verse character to the shelf. The lack of articulation in the torso, it does suck. It's more than I thought we had, because we do get a ball joint in there, which is cool. Jack-o'-lantern and Tombstone just blowing me away at how good they are. Solid wave for sure, but I know that there's some easily skippable ones. I know people have already talked about skipping over Last Dance Spider-Man and then skipping over Hallows' Eve, but Hallows' Eve is a fun one. Is it a all-important have-to-have? No, probably not. but it's still a fun one to include in the collection. Would have been great right around Halloween, but we have it. You guys let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of this retro Spider-Man wave? Which is your favorite figure? And what do you think of Hallow's Eve? Is it one that you're going to add to your collection, or are you going to pass on it? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU Collective. And as always, thank you for watching.